Woke up in New York City in a funky cheap motel. They took your trust, they took your money. They must have slipped you another six-figure deception, and it is time for that to end, yo. Hello, I am Lisa Robbin Young, and this is Creative Freedom Season 4. Your dose of empowerment for creative entrepreneurs. This is where can-do inspiration and how-to education collide to help you own your dreams without selling your soul. The six-figure deception. I've talked and written about the six-figure distinction and the six-figure illusion before. The first is about you making a distinction, a decision about what kind of income you really need to have a healthy business and a healthy life. Do you need to make six figures in income, in profit, or do you just want a six-figure type of lifestyle that, depending on where you live in the world, might be possible for less than six figures? The second is about how flashy marketers try to sell you the dream, the image of living the good life. You know, when they're just broke in reality, that picture of their toes on the sandy beaches of paradise. Yeah, that's the one. When they have to ask their parents to loan them money to pay the rent in real life? Maybe. The six-figure deception is a close cousin. Simply put, this is when someone is boasting about that top line number rather than the bottom line truth of what's going on in their business. For example, flashy internet marketer du jour is selling their high-end program, squealing about the new car they got, the six figures they made last year, and how you too can live the vida loca just like them. But when you do the math, if you see the numbers at all, that is, you realize that they really didn't make six figures last year. They brought in six figures, and they paid out almost as much in overhead, VAs, infrastructure, affiliate commissions. Those are vanity metrics, my friend. And that's the 6 or 7 or 8 or 9-figure deception. And it gets worse when they try to sell you on using their proven approach so that you can have the same kind of results that they've had, which, as you can see, aren't really all that great a result. Wah, 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 wah. Vanity metrics come in all shapes and sizes, and the problem persists because some big companies just don't get it. I was talking with a colleague who was trying to help a client grow her mailing list for a book proposal that they wanted to pitch to a publisher. And the client said that publisher wouldn't give her the time of day if she didn't have at least 50,000 people on her mailing list. Now, that really struck me as odd because there are so many ways to fake the size of your mailing list. And I was really shocked that a publisher would be so short-sighted and only look at that top line number. But they were adamant that that number was more important than anything else, more important than click-throughs, conversions, open rates, engagement, nothing. That number was the thing. Look, if you want to inflate your numbers and make them look good, whatever good means, well, you can buy followers or use shady practices to balloon those numbers quickly, but that's not legit, and I don't endorse that in any way. In fact, you can actually get banned from some platforms if you pay for fans or followers or even leads for your mailing list. And government rulings like the Can Spam Act and GDPR are making it harder for people to get away with that kind of stuff anyways. So why bother? But how do you avoid chasing vanity metrics? Now, there are things that you can do in your own business that we'll get into in a minute. But when you're dealing with other people, do your due diligence. One of my favorite definitions of that phrase, if you can have a favorite definition of anything, is a comprehensive appraisal of a business undertaken by a prospective buyer, especially to evaluate its commercial potential. Now, this definition sounds like it applies to someone who wants to buy a business, and it is, but it also applies to any investment you're making, including buying a program from or choosing to work with another business. Due diligence means that you took reasonable steps to make sure that everything is legit. You didn't just sift through all of their propaganda. marketing materials, the marketing materials that the company provided you with, you actually did a little investigative research, maybe even some comparison shopping, or you looked at some reviews from legitimate buyers, not paid promoters or affiliates of the product. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that you have to spend countless hours trying to figure out what's puffery and what's legit, but a little homework goes a long way here. For example, when big name gurus say, my system sold millions of dollars, and then they fail to mention that 30% return rate or that 50% affiliate commission that they're paying out to sell that overpriced system in the first place, well, they're deceiving you. And it's a legal deception too. Why? Because it's true. They're telling the truth, but it's an incomplete truth. Remember that old saying, sell the sizzle and not the steak? That's what they're doing here. And they keep doing it because it works. The sizzle is sexy, but you already know that you can't fill your belly with sizzle. You need the steak. Incomplete truths, like when your kid tells you they got an A on their report card, but then they fail to mention all the other grades which aren't so stellar. Yeah, that A is technically true, but the overall GPA is a better indicator of what's really going on. You need to have your eyes open when you're making an investment in your business or in anything else for that matter. Marketers are great at highlighting the big wins of their clients. Why? Because that's sexy and that's what gets you envisioning what's possible for you. But it's also problematic because they often focus on the folks with atypical results, which is why there's that fun little disclaimer that says, results not typical on their website. Yes, even I lead with the atypical results from time to time. It's normal to want to celebrate and focus on the awesome results that my clients are getting. For example, when I talk about the Creative Freedom Incubator, I often talk about a client who tripled her income in our first year of working together and who's on track to do 6 figures in her second year. But again, that's a top line number. So I also try to talk about results from my other clients, like the one that only had a few hours a week to give to growing her business because she also had a day job. And it took us a year just to develop an opt-in that was compelling and get her to start sharing her voice on social media. Or another client who came into the program with a lot of ideas but no income. And over the course of her year in the incubator, we tested and developed several offers, but it took her most of the year to home in on her right audience and develop an offer that was sustainably priced. Now, those are still pretty incredible results considering what was going on in their personal lives and what was going on in the environment around them. But to the uninitiated, that sure doesn't sound as sexy as saying you'll triple your income in a single year. And when it comes to your own propensity for vanity metrics, ask yourself this. What really matters to your business? Those are the results that you need to pay attention to. Do you need millions in revenue? Or do you need consistent, reliable income every month? Especially if you're in early struggle, that first stage of business growth that every business goes through, you're going to be salivating over a lot of things that you think you need. But the truth is that the only thing you need if you're in early struggle is to find a profitable, sustainable market as fast as possible so that you can get out of early struggle. And that means making sure that you match the right offer with the right message to the right audience. And then make sure that there are enough buyers in that audience to keep you profitable. That's it. Everything else is superfluous, including coaching, training, branding, fancy websites, business cards, anything that comes between you and the lifeblood of your business, profit. Remember, you're not running a nonprofit here. You have to make money or you're not in business, period. So as you grow, you want to keep things as simple and basic as possible so that you're not adding complication and you're not adding unnecessary expense. And then focus like a laser on the offer that connects with that right audience. And it might take months, maybe even years of experimenting to find the thing that works. But in early struggle, that's your only goal. Find the thing that works. And until you find the thing that works, you have to keep experimenting. which means you need as much spaciousness to experiment as possible, as little pressure as possible. You have to be okay with getting it wrong before you'll get it right. Now, can you get it right straight out of the gate? Sure, it happens, but that's rare. And if that's what you're counting on, you're creating a lot of unnecessary stress and pressure for yourself. And once you find the thing that works, keep working it. Stick with it relentlessly. Keep massaging and tweaking it until it runs like a well-oiled machine. And don't float a zillion offers out into the world. I know that sounds sexy, and if you're a fusion, you get bored, but stick with it. Experiments at this point should be substantially less of your focus. Now, you don't stop completely experimenting, and the reason you don't stop experimenting completely is because you may hit on something that your audience hadn't expected. You might have a market change or a shift that's starting to happen, and that experiment is going to give you some advanced understanding so that you are prepared to make that pivot. But once you find your thing that works, that is where the bulk of your marketing energy needs to go. Then you don't need vanity metrics because you'll be making good money doing what you love. Serve that market relentlessly. And then, well, I'll let Ricky Martin tell you what happened. That's bottom line truth, y'all. You can look at vanity metrics and get all excited, but that's deceptive truth. You need to look more closely at how those numbers translate into real results. Now, if you need help, I invite you to join us in Accountability Club, where you'll get support and encouragement from a tight-knit group of creative entrepreneurs just like you, who are on their own entrepreneurial journey, focusing on the numbers that matter most to them. You can learn more about it at lisarobinyoung.com/A club, and I will put a link in the description so that you can just click and go. So now it's to you. Have you been deceived by vanity metrics in the past? What have you been tracking that really doesn't mean much in terms of bottom line results of your business or your life? What do you need to start tracking instead? It's time to drop the judgment and get ruthlessly honest with yourself about the bottom line truth of your work. If things need to shift, make a shift. And if you're not sure how, ask for help. Share your thoughts and ideas in the comments and be part of our Rising Tide. When you register as a member of our Rising Tide on the website, you'll also get access to a slew of extra goodies like the transcripts for the podcast and this video show, worksheets like this week's tracking form, and more. Membership in the Rising Tide is free. Just visit the website to learn more. In addition to our new podcast and weekly videos, our season 4 format also includes a live Q&A with yours truly on my Facebook page. We will talk about the 6-figure deception this week. And if you've got your metrics together by then, I will do some spot reviews and help you determine what's fluff and what's worth tracking right now. So I hope to see you there. If you liked this episode, thank you. Subscribe, share, leave a review. Sharing is caring after all. Next week, we're going to be talking about the 5 core symptoms of under-earning. And this is one of the biggest issues creative entrepreneurs face when growing a profitable, sustainable business. We're going to face it head on. I hope you'll join me for that next time. And until then, for more inspiration and education to help you own your dreams without selling your soul, come see what's shaking over at lisarobinyoung.com. You know you want to.